Right, I'll talk about this one first. This book is called Stand Up, Mr. Independent. Circular evidence for King Jesus' physical resurrection AD 30. The reason I wrote this book about 40 years ago, 1985, I've not dated it, is because I was meeting a lot of people who said, well, you're only using the Bible to talk about Jesus' death and resurrection. I said, yeah, we do that because the Bible is a primary source document. If you don't accept four witnesses, for example, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, then what you're trying straight away, you're biasing your opinion against the first eyewitnesses of the resurrection. And you don't do that in history. But let's assume, for argument's sake, that we look outside the Bible and find out if there are other documents written by people who were hostile to the Bible and the biblical records. So, do they confirm or deny the crucifixion, for example? And I found many actually accept the crucifixion. They may dither about the resurrection, and that's to be expected. So, in these pages, you will find ample information from the Romans, from the Greeks, from the Arabs, Syrians, and Jews in the first century. And these writers all agree, independent of each other, that yes, there was a crucifixion of Jesus. For example, I've got a section here by the Jewish people, and I'll give you one or two references which I'm talking about. Right. This is Flavius Josephus. He writes in the Jewish Antiquities, section 18, these amazing words. Remember, he's not a Christian. It says, quote, Jesus, a wise man, if it is lawful to call him a man, a doer of good works, a teacher of the truth, he drew many Jews and Gentiles. Pilate condemned him to be crucified and to die. And those that become his disciples reported, I emphasize that word reported he had appeared to them 3 days after his crucifixion, and that he was alive. Then Josephus writes this word, perhaps he was the Messiah whom the prophets have recounted wonders. So Josephus is not a Christian, but he says it's been widely reported in Israel in these days that he was seen alive by the apostles. So that's a very interesting confirmation of the death and resurrection of Christ. Then there was a debate, like we have a Speaker's Corner, between a guy called Trypho the Jew and Justin Martyr. The debates occurred and are preserved in a book of the Dialogue of Trypho the Jew in 150 AD. Just after 132 AD, Bar Kokhba, the Jewish Messianic character, instigated a war against the Roman Empire, and the Jews lost. Okay? So he's saying by believing in Jesus, Trypho says, you have forsaken God and placed your hope on a man. Well, what kind of salvation remains for you? It is foolish to suppose that Christ is God and became man. And my friend, you show this person according to the will of his Father, submitted to become a man of a virgin, to be crucified, to die, to arise afterwards, and to return to heaven. Unquote.
Okay, they told me.
Please.
Oh, sorry.
So this guy is admitting this is what the Christians are teaching, and he's challenging them. Okay, the facts were wrong, and that's as early as 150 AD. So what's happening in this instance is that you have many characters from the Roman world who are disputing with the first Christians.
Very nice.
Right, okay? And it goes further. Now, just to cap off this,
Don't tell anything about Muhammad.
Simon ben Azay is born 70 AD, died 130 AD. Simon ben Azay was a distinguished teacher of the first third of second. Is quoted in Talmud. And then he talks about Jesus. Says Jesus existed, he claimed to be God, and called himself the Son of Man. And that's amazing, because the phrase the Son of Man is the favorite one on Jesus' lips. He doesn't, yes, Jesus calls himself the Son of God, John chapter 5. But most of the times he uses the peculiar phrase, the Son of Man, which has come from Daniel chapter 7. So for the Jewish people to admit this is astonishing. Right, so I've got many more of these on the Jewish side. I could go about the Romans, which is another section, which is listed here. Right. Now, this is Cornelius Tacitus, born 52 AD, died 120. So, he was a senator under Emperor Vespasian, and he was a proconsul of Asia, and is considered the greatest historian of the ancient Roman world. So in his book it says, Christ, from whom the name of his origin suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius, which is AD 137, at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilate. And a deadly superstition, now it was a Christian religion, faith, that's checked for a while, again broke out in Judea and Israel, the first place where the evil came from. So he's admitting this is official record in the Roman libraries, the Roman government.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I could talk about Emperor Pius to say the same thing. And as I say, there are many, many more evidences there. So altogether, there are about 92 references from the Greeks, Romans, Arabs, Jews, and philosophers from the first century.
Right, and you know in your book, do you have like
I'm a Muslim, I believe in pedophile.
Yes. They're all references.
Yeah.
Do you put that online or
I like pedophile.
No, what I've done, I've simply given, if I quote Agricola, I give the reference straight away.
Right.
I mean, obviously I could have put them at the back as well.
Yeah.
But I put them straight away so that people can see, oh, this is where the material comes from.
Yeah.
So as you saw straight away,
Yesterday.
I mean, if you look at,
There
you go. That's the one, but you see first. So that's the reference straight away.
I converted yesterday.
So you can see straight away what it is.
Yeah, you got the page as well.
On the page, everything, even the dates.
Mama, that age of
So
54,
nobody can
I
say I've just made it up. It'll be silly of me to do that. So I do that to all the references historically. And then you can make a summary and say, according to all the historical data from all these secular sources, what picture do you get? And the answer is very easy. You'll find that Jesus was born in Israel, Bethlehem. The Talmud talks about that. Jesus was crucified on Passover Day. The Talmud, the Jewish source book, talks about that. Jesus had apostles. The Jewish people talk about that. The Romans agree it was under Pontius Pilate, right? And then, amazingly enough, just to finish this bit, there's what we call the Nazareth tomb. Now, in the Nazareth tomb is an archaeological finding, which actually shows.
Sin or not?
If I can find it quick, I forgot where I put it now.
So when you sin,
Wow. And what is interesting is that the Romans issued a new law saying that if you dare to take a dead body out of the graveyard, you are to be executed because of what had happened about the Lord Jesus. When they said, this is ridiculous, we can't have this going around Israel. Here it is. Now, this is a stone slab of Roman law on it, right there. So you can see that.
Jesus is only the plan
It's
of
an
God.
international law
He came on
dated
the
around about AD
result,
41 to
nothing else.
54 during Emperor Claudius.
If you
And he
don't
says,
believe,
ordinance
you
of
don't believe. We are
Caesar.
not forcing you to
It is my
become
pleasure that graves and tombs
If you
remain
want to know the
perpetually
true one
undisturbed
God,
for those who made them for the cult of the ancestors. And then this comes the stringent part. Let it be absolutely forbidden for anyone to disturb them in case of violation. I desire, the emperor, is that the offender is sentenced to capital punishment, death, on charge of violation of a tomb. Now, why would you be bothered? Right? Because the Romans said the Christians are teaching that Jesus is the king. That means the Roman emperor is no longer king. So that is going to disturb what the Romans called Pax Romana, the peace of Rome. So the charge now is execute them if you can find them. And that's astonishing. So there are many more examples of this. So this is this book here. And it's on Amazon Kindle.
Right. Do you have it available anywhere else or just Amazon?
No, I put it on Amazon. Thank you, sir.
That was a punishment
I
by
need it.
Romans.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Same thing with this one. So that has been available for people in the last month. I put it back there for people who said I want a copy. I said, yeah, you can have. This is a hard copy, obviously, so you can have. So, hey, how are you doing? So you can have soft copies as well on Amazon and download them and you can read them at your leisure.
Yeah.
Yeah.